The humble multi-tool is something the mini cyclists don't give much thought. It sits at the bottom of a saddlebag or a pannier, or somehow mounted to the frame, and is pretty much forgotten until it's needed for a minor adjustment. But when you're on a remote bikepacking trip, or a long-term extended bike tour, the importance of a good multi-tool can't be understated. Alright guys, before we get into it, here's the usual reminder to consider subscribing to the channel. We're regularly uploading bikepacking and bike touring related videos, so if that's something you're into, hit the button. Now I would imagine that a lot of you are using a bicycle multi-tool kinda like this one. And this has become the standard form factor for a reason. They're compact and unobtrusive, they're reliable and generally pretty robust, and they have all the tools that you're ever likely to need on a ride. But while on a long distance bike tour, I soon discovered the limitations of a tool like this. It's awkwardly shaped, it can be tough to get into tight spaces, you can't really get any leverage with it, and you can deal with all this stuff if you're just using it for a quick roadside repair. But when you're out on the road for months at a time, and you're doing all your own repairs and maintenance, it just isn't a very good substitute for proper workshop tools. Now I've looked into all sorts of solutions. I've looked into other multi-tools that have a different design, and I'd pretty much resigned myself to just having to take a proper set of Allen keys with me. Until I found this, the Topeak Omni Toolcard. The Omni Toolcard is pretty much two tools in one. One side is Topeak's fantastic Ratchet rocket. And I'm sure most of you have probably seen the Ratchet rocket in one of its various forms. I have always wanted one of these, but I really just didn't like the look of those little wallets that all the bits slot into. I always thought they'd just end up coming out and rattling around at the bottom of a pannier or just getting lost completely. But in this tool, they're held in by magnets and are super secure. And when the tool's folded up, they're completely blocked from being able to fall out. And the functionality of this thing is just awesome. It allows for super quick assembly, and I can't imagine a better tool to have with you when you're putting your rack and fenders on when taking the bike out of the box after a flight. Most of the bits you need for bike assembly are included, and the ratchet's reversible, so you can take the bolts out with it as well. And it's just the right size. Small enough to pack, but still fully capable of any bike-related maintenance tasks. And the other side of the tool consists of a proper set of Allen keys. And these are so much easier to use than a standard bike multi-tool. There really is something great about the ergonomics of the humble L-shaped hex wrench. A good example of this is when I'm adjusting my brakes. My bike has TRP Spire brakes, and fairly often as the brake pads wear, I need to push the pistons in slightly. Now this is a really simple process. Each piston is adjusted with this 3mm hex bolt, and that's easy enough on this outer one, but the inner one is really awkward to reach, and it's such a pain to try and fit a standard multi-tool in there. But an Allen key like this can get in there no problem. Now once you get over the advantages of using a regular Allen key rather than a multi-tool, there isn't really much else to say about this. They work exactly as you'd expect. But I will say that they all seem to be really nice quality and are color-coded the same as the loose bits for the Ratchet, which is a nice little feature. The exceptions to this are the three smallest wrenches, as they don't have a ratcheting equivalent. They have a rounded tip on the long end, which helps to access bolts that are in awkward spots. A lot of people don't like these because they say it can round off the bolt, but it's all personal preference. Just exercise a little bit of care like you should be with your precious bicycle. So at this point, I think the benefits of this tool are pretty obvious, so let's take a look at the downsides. The first issue that I can see is that although the Allen keys and the ratchet bits are super secure and definitely won't go anywhere, I can't help thinking that the ratchet itself can maybe come loose. It's pretty tight in there, but road vibrations can do a surprising amount, not to mention that the plastic holding it in place could possibly wear over time. So it might be an idea to put a rubber band or a hair tie around it just in case. The second issue I've found is that you will need to bring some extra tools along just to replace the functions that this doesn't have. As an example, most decent multi-tools these days have a built-in chain breaker. This does not. Now, I personally think that that's an acceptable sacrifice for the extra functionality that this tool brings. And to be honest, a purpose-built chain breaker is always way better than the ones you get on multi-tools. But it is an extra thing to remember and an additional expense. All right, so to wrap up, this is a really simple idea. Topeak have simply taken their hugely successful and very satisfying to use Ratchet and combined it with the set of travel Allen keys. And this combination works amazingly because the Allen keys are able to fill in for the limitations of the Ratchet and vice versa. The Ratchet allows you to screw things in or unscrew them really quickly, and the Allen keys allow you to actually snug something down tight or get some leverage or whatever else you need. Now, maybe this won't replace your standard multi-tool for regular rides, but for bike touring, I can't think of a better tool. All right then guys, what do you think? Leave a comment below and let me know what you think of the Omni Toolcard and whether or not you'd take it on a long trip. If you liked the video, then give it a thumbs up, and if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. Cheers!